Welcome, everybody, to the Advanced Implementation Mentors Network meeting. I'm delighted to have my colleagues from University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley with me, and UTEP. Thank you. That's a call out to Dr. Nava there. So she's at UTEP, and we have a wonderful project that we get to share with you. So without further ado, I'm going to move on to the agenda, in which we're going to share with you about our Latina Thrive partnership project, which was recently funded in September of 2022. So yay, team! And we are specifically wanting to highlight our engagement opportunities for you. Our Thrive Community of Practice, which will be open to everyone, our Latina Summit, and then of course we've got our Thrive cohort applications. We will have time at the end of our presentation to answer any questions that you have. Thank you, and Ala, it's all yours.
Thank you, Gretel, and thank you to the AIM Network for facilitating this informal meeting as we launch our new project, the Latina Thrive Partnership. My name is Ala Kubad. I'm the Dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science at UTRGV. I've been serving as the PI for our UTRGV Advanced Program for this partnership for another Includes grants, and I'll talk a little bit about these initiatives and how this project came about, this new advanced partnership. We are excited about this project. We have really an amazing team who have significant experience in these initiatives. I would like to introduce my colleagues, the co-PI, Dr. Marcy McMahon. She's a professor of literature and she's the lead on the summit. If many of you recall Marcy, she has been the lead on our Latina Symposium, which we started several years ago. And we thought of this opportunity to scale up that to the national level. Marcy's there and she's gonna talk after me, so you're gonna hear from her. With that, I have my colleague, she's also at UTRGV, Dr. Faria. She's the Associate Dean for Faculty Success, Diversity, and Inclusion at UTRGV. She's gonna be the co-lead on that summit. You could see her in red. You can't miss Patty there. Gretel also is the co-PI and she's going to be leading our community of practice. And then also she will serve as a co-lead for our chairs cohorts and chairs intervention program, which we're going to explain. This is a great opportunity and we are really excited about that. And with her in that program, I like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Nava from UTEP. She's a professor of electrical and computer engineering, and she'll be the co-lead with that chairs initiative. Also on the team is Dr. Bets Mueller. I don't think she may not make it today, but she's a co-PI and she's leading our social sciences study. She used to be at University of Houston. Probably some of you know her, but now she's at UC Merced. And last not but least, Jean McLagan. She will get to talk later on. So we are excited about the team. Again, as I mentioned, this work is nothing new to the team. We've been working on this initiative and we thought this is a great opportunity to scale this to other HSI universities. So the focus is on HI, and I'm gonna tell you why we are focusing on HSI. We started this actually about 10, 12 years ago with an advanced program, IT Institutional Transformation Grant at UTPA and then transition to UTRGV. And of course, our goal was to increase the representation of women at an HSI. And since we are an HSI, our focus was on Latinas. Now, we did a lot of things to make the institutional transformation, but many of you in this area, we realized at the end of the day, if we need to make a change for women, for Latinas, increase their representation, we have to go down to the department level. So that's how we came up with this project, is to focus on transforming the STEM academic departments into a psychologically healthy work framework for Latinas in particular, but for faculty and women of color. And why did we choose the psychologically healthy? That's our framework for advanced. It's basically on giving faculty opportunities for growth and development, recognition, faculty engagement, health and safety, and also work-life balance. So the various initiatives of the program, especially the chair's action cohort, going to focus on these 5 things. I'm a mechanical engineer, but we have Gretel, who's a psychologist. So Gretel, do you want to add anything to this framework?
Only to say that this is a multidisciplinary synthesis of research on psychologically healthy workplaces, and that they were able to come up with these 5 focus areas, which translate very nicely into an academic department context. Employee involvement focuses on providing employees with greater autonomy and engagement in organizational decision-making. Work-life balance is exactly what we've been all talking about for a very long time. How do we foster greater work-life balance in a time-greedy academic space that we reside in? Employee growth and development is around professional development, and employee recognition. We know from research on a variety of fronts that women do not get recognized for their work as readily as majority folks do. And so how do we make sure that women are in the pipeline to be rewarded and recognized for the work that they provide? And the last one, health and safety, we tend to think of that as psychological health as well as physical health, and we are honing in on microaggressions and macroaggressions and fostering a greater sense of belonging. That's a critical part of health and safety. Thank you, Ala. Now push it back to you.
Thank you. So since I mentioned the focus on the departmental transformation, what we've learned also, and many of you know this, that if we're going to do the departmental transformation, which makes the most important part for Latinas and for women of color, then the chairs are a critical part. And that's what makes this project different than our advanced, is the focus on the chairs. We did a survey, who's the one who has the most impact on faculty recruitment, retention, and advancement, and we gave them option A, B, C, D. A, the chair, B, the dean, provost, president, and number 1 was the chair. So again, the focusing on the chair, and our objective basically to focus on chairs in HSIs, because that's the context we are working on, and give them the tools, give them the resources, give them the guidance to create that psychologically healthy work frame. This is the overview of the project, and to achieve that goal, we are focusing on several integrated initiatives and goals. We have the enrich, we have the engage, we have the enable, and we have the examine. And what you're going to notice here, there is something unique about this project, which I'm going to mention, because many times what we've noticed, we do trainings for chairs, and guess what? We give them the diversity concept, the guiding principles, but they cannot implement those actions. So what I'm excited about this project is the way we're gonna conduct the initiative. So the chairs training here is not gonna be a training; it's gonna be an action development process. So we're gonna work with them, and again, Dr. Nava will explain this. So we're gonna work with them throughout the year to develop an action plan and implement that. Give them facilitation, give them coaching, because before we give them the training, but when they go try to make some changes, they face with challenges. Now, as I mentioned before, many of you participated in the Latina Summit, so that's the engage. So what we are doing here, we always bring the Latinas to the summit, but again, the chairs are the key part. So we are scaling this up to bring chairs to that summit. So this way they can learn from those Latinas, from those women of color. So that's the engage part. And then always, we've been doing that once a year, but we say if we're going to bring the chairs, once a year sharing of ideas is not too often, then we're going to have the enrich. So, Gretel will take the lead on community of practice. So there will be frequent meetings like these ones, mostly informal meetings, to share ideas, best practices. And the third initiative, which is I'm the most excited about, where we're going to award Winnie chairs, is the enable. We're going to really work with them and enable them to make the change in their department. Because most of the time the chair tells me, yeah, I love all these concepts, but I don't know how to create an action. We talk about these 5 guiding principles. I don't know how to make a change. So this is the unique thing about the program. So we're going to work with them to make something happen in their departments. And then when we do that, as you know, I'm an engineer, but I learned from many of you in the social sciences, we have to look and we have to study. We're going to do surveys before and after, and we're going to see the impacts on these initiatives on the climate, on the retention, and on the productivity of these faculty. So these are the 4 initiatives of the project. As I mentioned, these are nothing new. We've done many of these things, but I love the way we are bringing these in, because before we were doing chairs training, Latina Summit. So we are bringing all these initiatives in a way to complement each other, to focus on the department chairs, which after being in the DEI for many years, I realized that They are the most important. So another thing I just want to mention here, let's say in our university, there are very few chairs who are like have the experience. So bringing chairs from across many HSIs, there will be like a learning community. There will be a peer learning for them. So the goal is to help them and enable them to learn from each other and make a change in their department for women faculty, for underrepresented faculty, for Latinas. And we say for Latinas, but in my view, if we create a climate for Latinas to thrive, guess what? All women of color will thrive and men can thrive too. So this will help everybody thrive. I'm excited about the project, and I would like to turn it to my longtime colleague and partner in crime with these initiatives, Dr. McMahon.
All right. Thank you, Ala, for that. So I'm Marcy, and I'm a co-PI, and I'm leading the summit that's part of this initiative. So I want to talk about some of the opportunities that are part of this partnership, which we hope that you all in this room will participate in and spread out to your networks and communities. So as Ala was speaking to and Gretel was speaking to, there's different components of this grant. So it's a partnership grant, a lot of different aspects. So we have a monthly community of practice, which will be a lot like this AIM network space. That's open to everyone, open to all interested in promoting this psychologically healthy workplace with a special emphasis on barriers to Latina STEM faculty. So we would imagine we would invite guest speakers in that space, have some readings, you know, kind of an informal space. Stay tuned. Further details will be announced on that. The launching, actually, our first year is the Latina Summit. So this May 18th and 19th, save the date, there is a summit, and this is open to anyone who's interested in participating in this effort. There will be presentations by experts in DEIB. We'll have workshops where you can network. This is a partnership with HSI Hub, the Texas HSI Network, the Latinas in STEM, Geo Latinas, other entities very invested in this topic. And so all of our partners will be at the summit, collaborating, learning. It's an opportunity to engage in research and networking and resource sharing and knowledge support. And it's on the beautiful island of South Padre. So it's a nice, lovely place to get away to. The exciting part of this initiative, there will be a cohort of 20 chairs and their change teams engaged in this transformational effort to advance Latinos in STEM at HSIs and their departments and at the institution. So our Thrive cohort applications, which Dr. Nava will speak about in just a moment, is going to be open to STEM department chairs at Hispanic serving institutions. And so this is really like the heart of this grant project, is this transformation at the department level. Applications are going to be due March 24th for this, and 20 chair awards will be given. Before we move to Dr. Nava, I want to turn it to Dr. Patty Faria Arroyo to talk more about the summit, which Patty's co-leading.
Thank you. Gracias, Marcy. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I think it's very important to spread the word about this project, excited about being part of it. We have a guest list for the speakers that is amazing with the work they're done. And I think, Marcy, you cover everything very well. Thank you again for being today here, and pass it to Pat. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. I'm Pat Nava, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the application. The timeline is very important because in order to get this going as soon as possible, we're giving a deadline of March 24th for the actual application that the chairs must submit. The cohorts will be announced in April, and then the following week we'll have a virtual orientation for those involved in the work. And of course, this is all leading up to the major event of our summit in May, as the dates are given there. Just want to cover a little bit more about the partnership, or reiterated 20 STEM chairs and their change teams that are going to be supported, and the chairs will receive a stipend. There are additional benefits to this, and the benefits are that obviously the award and recognition. There will be 20 cohorts. We do have community practice webinars, which promise to be very engaging and very interesting and very informative. Our cohort engagement is going to also include interaction between chairs and their teams and other chairs and their teams. We also have learning circles facilitated by organizational change experts. There's also access to executive coaching, which will be doing that. We also have travel support for summit participation and networking opportunities for STEM Latinas. There are some required and recommended participations. Just to let you know that the virtual cohort is mandatory for the awardees, as is attending the annual Latina summits. Monthly 1-hour circle meetings are in fact mandatory. Also participation in social science study and project evaluation assessments. And of course, after receiving the support and participating in all of these, we do expect a report out after a full year of engagement from those individuals that won the support. There is recommended chair engagement, which is the community of practice, which I've already talked about a little bit, the executive coaching that is available, and informal office hours for any kind of help that is required. Gretel, have I missed anything?
Fabulous.
Back to you.
Thank you, co-lead. This is great. I just wanted to also let everybody know that I'll be sharing with you the resources that we have available. Most importantly, the application itself, which is a very small, not intended to be a heavy lift. It only has 5 questions and easily accomplishable by the due date of March 24th. And we've got support information. If you have questions about it, you can see the 1-page overview document because we're seeking department chairs to come in with an area of focus. We also want to offer up some examples of where they might want to focus efforts for this year-long challenge to affect change within their department. We also provide a 2-page overview of the project itself, just to give people reference as they're completing their application. So those are the resources that we will provide you after our meeting. And of course, you are welcome to contact us. We have contact information at the end of our presentation, which is very close now. I'm going to pass it over to Jean, last but not least, who will wind our formal presentation down.
Thank you, Gretel. So just to reiterate, we have a couple more steps in front of us here. First, I want to recommend to people who may not be able to participate in the department chair cohort that we do have we're calling the Thrive Community of Practice. And through that, we'll be sharing a ton of information. We'll be allowing folks to present their own research that they're doing in these particular areas to look at improving the lives of Latina faculty and faculty throughout, academia. So that would be great if you or people that you know would be interested in participating in it. We also have, again, the save the date for the Latina Summit. It's on sunny South Padre Island. It's going to be in a wonderful area. The beach will be right there. You'll be able to feel the sun and sea breeze on your face. We do have a discounted hotel rate that we'll be able to share with you shortly. And then also, just as a reminder, the due date for the cohort applications are March 24th. I'll be one of the folks that you'll be able to reach out and contact. So if you've got questions about those applications, we're trying to facilitate that process as much as possible. So I think I'll turn it over to Gretel and see if there's any questions for the rest of the group.
Yay! Well, now we turn it over to you to ask any questions you have about our project. We've just sort of given you a fire hose of information, so I know you're digesting some of it now as we're speaking, but happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you so much. Go forth, continue the good work, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon and looking forward to applications from you and your colleagues.